Hello and good morning. This is Gotham Sound's coverage of NAB 2025. It's day 2, and we're kicking off day 2 with Andrew from Deity. Andrew, how are you?
I am doing wonderful this morning. It was a fantastic day one. Your coverage was perfect.
Well, I wish we could say the same for the cellular coverage. So apologies for any breakups on the videos. There will be, new versions uploaded that are clean, other than the live version. But anyway, for everybody watching at home that watched yesterday, thank you. For anybody watching now, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. And Andrew, you always show new stuff.
Every year.
Every year. I mean, it seems like every minute of every day there's something new, but every year you have new stuff. But this year it's less, but it seems like less is more. Why don't you tell me what is going on?
It is. This was like 18 months in the works. It was brought up yesterday. I did a video where someone was like, yeah, you sent us those surveys. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I sent you guys surveys like 18 months ago about what do you want in an IFB? Like, what are you unsatisfied by? What do you love? How can we culminate it all together into the perfect IFB? And that's kind of what we've been working on to make this, the DIFB, part of the Theos family line. And what's really nice about it is we just kind of took a lot of what people asked for, piled it in as much as possible. So what we've got here is volume control on the top knob. If I were to push it in, I can switch over and start changing the frequencies of my preset library. Up to 20 presets are available. They wanted AA batteries, extra long battery life. So here we've got the Deity lithiums that are available, single-use items. We're getting 17 hours of battery life.
Okay, wow.
On nickel metal hydride, I think we're getting a little around 10 hours of runtime on a single charge. The batteries in the menu is all exactly what you'd expect from like a Theos product. So the menus all feel very similar. If you're a part of the Theos family, you know these menus. If you aren't, we're selling a bundle kit so you could get into this without having to already be pre-invested in Theos. And there's little things like that. It also has things like if you want to do frequency scans, and it starts from 550 to 960. So it allows you to tune into any of the legal bands in your country. And it uses the GPS of your phone to dial in what those bands are going to be. So here in the United States, we do 550 to 608. And if I were to come down into the range setting, you can see exactly that all there. So we've been practicing here at NAB in the guard band. Most people will probably have never once transmitted in this band because it's just 2 megahertz. There's not a lot of space to utilize. But here at NAB, we found it's fantastic spectrum because of that thing. No one is really utilizing that guard band. So we've been in guard band. So let's show you guys what NAB looks like at the beginning of the day in the normal spectrum. And as you can see there, that is a RF mess. And that's kind of what a lot of people here have to deal with on a regular basis. By going over to different bands, we're able to take advantage of some really nice stuff. So if I were to go scan of like the guard band, it's much cleaner. And the one signal that's in there is actually ours. If I want to, I can scan for just our signal, and there, it found it. And now I want to confirm, and it just paired to the transmitter that we currently have operating up there on that mast. So that thing is actually occupying a signal, and we were able to tune right into it. But if you were to look at even something as simple as the duplex gap and do a scan for it, you can do that as well. So like all the cool frequency bands that most people don't want to put their talent wireless into, you can now put your IFB.
Yes, exactly. Okay, great. So, and off diversity, right? 2 antennas.
True diversity, actually. So we've got multiple radios in there managing all that. And that's how we're actually getting really great reception here. Steel ceiling, reflections galore in this place. And we've been actually able to fight against all that and do walk tests that have been pretty impressive to about 400 feet here at the venue.
And same codec as your normal transmitter. There's no
Everything's the same. So if you own a Theos kit, any of your transmitters, you can just use that transmitter with it. If you don't own one, we'll include one with the bundle kit. So if you need to tune in to, like, say, a boom or someone's lav directly, you could do that, save those presets in. If you have, say, a bag set up like this and you want to do a mix and send that mix off to the clients and the producers, you can do that. If you want to have both and have someone be able to tune back and forth, up to 20 different transmitters in the air.
So there's a 20, that you can program 20 presets in there?
Yeah, so here in the actual menu,
Mm-hmm.
we can go back, and you can go into the bank file, and I can go into existing, and I can go down and just program individually all of that. And it includes, if I go back to the top, it also includes the name of that signal from that transmitter. So in the Theos family, all of our devices can have names associated with them, and it'll actually read out that name using a text-to-speech algorithm into your actual earphones.
Oh,
so as you're changing those presets, you don't need to sit here and like look at your hip and try to read all that. It'll read it out to you in your earbuds, just like a walkie-talkie would.
So you could program the transmitter to be, say, Andrew.
Right. So if I want to tune into a talent wire, and their talent wire is named after that actor or after that character, I can get that readout in my earbuds to know that I've tuned into the correct signal.
That's cool. That's very. So what is that? What is the pricing? What's the availability?
Pricing and availability. It's going to be $299 on launch for a single unit. We're looking at a 3-pack with a transmitter for about $1,100.
That's great.
And availability, we're hoping for about mid-June.
Okay. And then in terms of the headphone output, is there a lock for that as well? Like if you wanted to use it as a camera hop? Because a lot of people do that.
So it is a threaded TRS jack.
Yep.
So all of our cables that are available for Theos, like the RX link, going to XLR for camera hops, you can do that as well. If you want to use this for live timecode, you could do that as well with all of our timecode cables from the TC1 family. And if I were to come into here and just go 1, 2, 3, I've actually locked the device down, and I cannot adjust the volume anymore. So if you want to use it as a camera hop, you can do that as well.
So you really could, but it's unbalanced output on that. Is that
it's
right?
Unbalanced out,
which makes sense.
Yeah, dual mono, unbalanced out.
Perfect. All right, we have, before we get on to the next things, anybody that has questions about the IFB, please leave them in the chat. We have a lot of comments about other things and questions about this, so we'll go through it.
Yeah.
All right, so Chase says, good morning. What can Andrew tell us about the development and status of the D4RX?
The D4RX is still in development. We have finalized, I think, what the designs are going to finally look like. Just like we've been doing tons of polling, it was quick for us to say we're going to make this, and we knew what the specs needed to be. Form factor, ergonomics are a lot harder to determine because that's how you actually interact with the product.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you 4-channel receiver. Of course you want that. But do you want that in this form factor, a form factor that's slightly skinnier with a D25? All of that had to get weighed in options, and we can't make a version for everybody.
Right.
So it's been a lot of that internal polling strategy-wise. We're pretty darn close, though, to finalizing the designs and getting a model probably by the end of summer for demo and beta testing.
Okay. And I mean, if this took 18 months, and this seems reasonably straightforward, right? What you're talking about is very, very different.
Right. You only get one shot to make something that's truly pro and make that splash. So we want to make sure we do it right.
Perfect. All right. So this is more of a comment. Phil said, seconded on the D4RX update. The fins look awesome. We'll get to the fins in a minute. Darth Minor, which I love that handle. That's awesome. Asked if there are any updates on the DLTX or DXTX availability in the US.
No changes. They're going to be released outside of North America. And that's just kind of how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Almanox asked the same question. Saeed said hello from Colorado and very glad that Deity has an IFB. Phil wants to know how hot is the output and how many ohms is the output on this?
How hot the output is. I don't think I have that spec off the top of my head. High ohms, we checked it with 250 ohm. Was that the DDT880? The Behringer Dynamics?
Yeah, the DT250 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many letters and numbers in that one.
Yeah, exactly.
We tested it with that. Worked just fine.
Okay, great. And Phil says this is the first wideband IFB. I mean, there are others, but this is Deity's first IFB, and it is, it's very wideband.
It's very wideband, yeah.
Almanox asked, has Deity made improvements to the quality of the locking threads since the first release of the transmitters?
Yes. So what we found was it was a workbench. One of the lasers were set for the laser welding was just done a little too wrong temp.
Mm.
Best way to put it. On one of the workbenches for assembly that only affected the first batch. So we've been doing replacements, no questions asked kind of replacements on the 3.5 millimeter, and it hasn't affected any other batches since.
Great. Fantastic. Christian Burton says, thanks for your coverage. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And Javier says, hello, Andrew. And Nick, I love the VO7U mic. I love it.
Yay, cool.
And Nate, thank you for your work back in New York and checking in on Instagram. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Any more questions or comments, please leave them in the chat.
Down that section below.
I love
it's
it.
not like I've been on YouTube before.
No, never at all.
Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button for more information from Gotham Sound.
I love it. All right, perfect. Let's talk about these fins.
So this is called the SF1. Last year we released the BF1 antennas. This year we're doing the SF1 antenna. This is a passive active shark fin antenna. It offers 6 dBi at passive. You just plug it in, it's going to get you that antenna signal at 6 dBi. You don't need to worry about flipping a switch to making it so it turns into passive mode. It automatically handles all of that for you. As soon as you turn on active mode, you're able to use the RF amplifier up to 27 dB. So if you're doing extra long cable runs, it'll handle the compensation of your cable loss. It is very directional, like a shark fin is. It's 470 to 1 gigahertz. So if you are not a Deity user and you're going down to the 470, you can utilize this no problem. So no matter what band of wireless you're on, it will handle you here in most of North America. The locking mechanism is a little different than most. You're probably used to like some kind of mount down here. What we did different here was allow you to use an RE style 3/8 mount so it doesn't pivot on you, but also means all those crazy camera rig setups that people have for clamps and different mechanisms can now be used to mount your antenna. So if you're doing something in a stadium, live event, long-term mounting solutions, you can use that right there. And if you are worried about things, say outdoors, it is IP rated. I believe it's 54. So it should be fine to leave out in a sports stadium that doesn't have a roof.
So it can take the rain, basically.
It can take the rain, yeah.
And then does it come with this cool little...
It does. Yeah, so this is our mount, and even the knob itself is metal. So all of this is metal hardware on here. And this, as you can see down here, also has different threads to see what kind of compensation it needs to have. So you can plug it into multiple different kinds of stands.
That's cool. And what, I guess let's talk price and availability on that.
Price and availability. We're still trying to figure out a little bit about the price and availability. It's going to be a late summer. So I think July, late July.
So June, July.
June, July. And then for pricing, we're kind of thinking about $250 each.
Great.
Not too bad. And we may do a bundle pair kind of deal as a discount. And
to revisit this, so if you don't apply bias power, it still passes RF.
Still passes RF.
And then does it have the ability to do negative gain?
It does not.
Does not. Okay.
Only
so
positive gain.
0 to 20.
0 to 20. So that negative gain is just going to come from that natural cable loss.
Got it. Because sometimes that is one of the things with a high gain antenna like this. Sometimes you can overload if you've got a really short antenna.
Speaking of overload, we actually have an overload LED indicator that is not going to cut your signal. I know we have this also on our distro, and people are like, I've got the overload thing going on. I'm like, yes, but it's not cutting out your signal. It's not actually negatively affecting you. It's just letting you know something nearby may be too hot. So it's got that as well. So if you need to dial down your RF power at your units, it's letting you know, hey, you probably don't need to be blasting as loud as you are.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget this kind of thing when it comes to RF is you don't necessarily want to hit 100% bars all the time.
Yep.
If I'm at a distance, let's say 10 meters away, I want to be hitting like 75, 80% of my RF bars because there's always the chance that talent walks toward you. And that signal will get up there. Like you said, you'll get overloaded.
Right.
So if they walk away from you, you still get a good strong signal. If they walk close to you, you're not overloading your front end. 75% RF bars is like a good target. And that kind of lets you know, hey, this is getting a little too close and hairy.
That's a great tip, honestly. Like that's the first
More
time
power
I've heard it
is
said
not
that way.
better.
And the idea, like if you think about your RF bar as an audio meter where you're at like 75%.
Have headroom.
Yep, have headroom. Have headroom in your RF. That honestly is one of the things that we find a lot of customers have issues with.
Blowing out your front end RF filters is way more common.
Mm-hmm.
We know we sell something that goes up to 100 milliwatts.
Yep.
And a lot of our customers may have the first time ever setting an RF meter. So they may have bought wireless in the past that never had that feature. And they think more is better.
Yeah.
More is not better. You're
Worse
causing
is
your
more.
own headache sometimes. More is also sometimes more noise floor, more background issues, more intermod, depending on what kind of wireless you're using. Less can also be better.
Yep, less could be more. All right, so a bunch of questions about this, and then we've got to go back about other notes.
Okay.
So is there any remote control available with this on the Status app?
No.
Okay.
No.
Manual?
It makes it manual, makes it as easy as possible for people that don't own Theos or other Deity stuff to get into the system.
And is there, Niall wants to know, is there any RF filters available on these antennas?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So any filtering that we would have done would have gotten rid of the whole ultra wideband functionality. With more wireless coming out, you've got the brands right next to us that ultra wideband is the new standard.
Yeah.
And let that filtering happen at the RX level, because you may do mixed RXs. You may have some talent in one band, another talent in another band, and you want the availability all the way down and filter at the last second.
All right, so more questions. So Almanac's actually asking about the DXTX internationally.
Okay.
When is there an update with the international version for people in other countries?
At the end of NAB, we will be dropping a teaser.
Aha. So tomorrow.
Wednesday. Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
What
today's
day is
Monday.
it? I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm only here today.
I'm here in Vegas. It's Vegas time.
Exactly. It is a bit like a time warp.
Oh, it's a time warp.
Bradley asked if there was any plans for a 2-channel transmitter. They said they would love it for client and separate boom mixes, and also, I mean, maybe a stereo camera hop.
Yeah. It's very complicated to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just easier and more affordable, honestly, just to get 2 DBTX units.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, let's see.
Then you could split them and use them as talent wire later.
Chase wants to know if there are any possibilities for a future mini transmitter, similar to some of the other smaller ones that other companies have. And they also said they're going to pick up these antennas absolutely 100%.
Well, mini transmitter would be a dream. We would probably want to start asking people, what do you want it to do? That's all I got to say.
Drive the car. Let's see. What else? And Christoph asked about the D4RX in development. Yeah,
development still.
See earlier in the video for more specifics about that. All right. Well, Andrew, anything else that you want to say? I think, as we talked about less is more, you've had more is more and now less is more. These are both 2 very exciting products. Is there anything else you want to share about anything at all, what you're seeing, what you're dealing with?
I look forward to seeing everyone in New York for the Gotham Sound Expo in May.
Woot.
Again, if you don't know about that, you can find out more about that by hitting the subscribe button and the like on this video and hit the bell for notifications when these guys go live.
Perfect. And for more videos like this and to see more Andrew, go to gothamsound.tv. You can. What's your handle?
Andrew at Deity, almost
Andrew
on
at
all
Deity.
social. Yeah.
Perfect. You can follow Andrew at Deity. You can follow Gotham Sound on any social media platform. Email us at info@gothamsound.com. Andrew is surprisingly available for somebody who works so freaking hard. So you would be surprised that if you need him, he's there. And if you're considering purchasing or renting professional sound equipment like this, please consider using Gotham Sound. We'll be back for more NAB 2025.